Welcome to PMPLounge.com. Today we are taking a look at the PMI 2018 jobs report, and one of the section for that report is about India's ascent. So a great news for all of us Indians here. PMI has covered what are India's prospects, and I thought it would be great if I can share it on PMPLounge.com. So this video, we are looking at the jobs report from PMI. No copyrights infringement intended. All copyrights acknowledged. This is a report that is done by PMI. It's available for free. Personally, it's one of my favorite reports, but because it shows you what you can expect uh, from in terms of jobs world over in the project management industry. So I'll provide the link of the PMI website where you can go in and download your free copy. It is all free, and like I said, this is a report from PMI themselves, the Project Management Institute. So it's a lovely report. I think this time onward, they have actually converted into a magazine of sorts. So there are a lot of things I have not read it through, but I have read almost 60% of it, I think, and it's great. It's really very insightful for everyone in the project management industry. So it's definitely something that if you work in project management industry, you should definitely look into it. So one of the sections in the report was about India's ascent and what PMI has kind of did their surveys, and PMI reports are all about numbers. They stick to ground reality. They present a lot of infographics and statistics. So if they've covered India's ascent, this is something which should be taken as a good news for all of us Indians, and especially the folks working in the project management industry. So let's take a look. Let me share you. This is the report. So I'll share with you this entire link. You can go ahead and you can read the report for yourself. You can download the report as well in PDF format. That option is also available, and I have a local copy here. This is how the report looks like. PM Network jobs report, and like I said previously, it's a report by PMI. So it's a magazine of sort. It used to be report, just 4 or 5 pages report, but this year onwards, I think they've made this into a magazine style. So I've read actually more than half of it. I really like it, very insightful. But in this video, we are covering only the section about India's ascent and what are the prospects of India. So page number 14 is where I'd go. Let me maximize this so that you can see it much better. So metrics, India's ascent, and this report basically covers about the job condition and the prospect for India, right? So the subcontinent is poised to host a huge array of projects for decades to come. Here are the sectors to watch and the lingering challenges. So they've covered basically 5 sectors, and they've also covered some of the challenges that India faces. So 7% is what India's projected GDP growth rate in 2018, nearly double the expected global rate for the year. So the global GDP rate, right, that hovers around 3.5%. India, on the other hand, plays at 7% GDP growth rate. That's something big, right? It's the other part of the coin is the fact that the GDP is not that huge, right? The total number for GDP is not as big as China or USA, because they are already advanced economies. So our total number is not that big, but then 7% growth is something which is, as the report mentioned, nearly double the expected global rate for the year, right? So upward trajectory, 40th competitiveness ranking in 2017 among 137 countries, up from 71st in 2014. So India is ranked at 40th, right? So this is from the World Economic Forum's competitiveness rankings, are based on 12 pillars that together gauge productivity, including infrastructure, technological readiness, and business sophistication. 6 trillion US dollars is the value of country's economy by 2027, when it will be the world's third largest after US and China. So 2027, the figure that the value of the country's economy will be is 6 trillion US dollars, and 2050 will be the year in which India will become the second largest economy in the world, overtaking the United States. So 2050 is the year when India will become the largest economy, taking over US, the second largest. The first, of course, will be China by then. Um, till then, I believe. So the five sectors to watch now are infrastructure, which is 1.5 trillion US dollars, is needed for road, airport, and power project over the next 10 years. So this is the amount of money expected to be invested in India on infrastructure, 1.5 trillion US dollars. Now let's talk about IT and BPO. This is where India is first. Here it says, first, India's global ranking as a business process outsourcing destination. It's leading ahead of China. Its lead ahead of China grew in 2017. So we actually grew ahead of China in 2017, and the value is 160 US billion dollars, right? That is the value of industry in 2017, but big changes in the air. Spending by IT service organizations on digital as opposed to traditional projects in the sector is taking off. So the traditional spend used to be 2014. If you see, the traditional spend was 96%. By 2017, it was 86%, and it will be 62% by 2025, while the digital spend is expected to rise 4% in 2014, 14% in 2017, and 38% by 2025. So these are the two sectors out of five that they've mentioned: infrastructure, IT, BPO, and the other two are in the next page. The financial services, so 1.8 trillion US dollars, right? Value is the value of industry by 2027, becoming the world's third largest. Digital banking will take off as the percentage of the workforce made up of millennials rise rises sharply in the next decade. So millennials are going to, come out and be of the working age population. By the next decade, it is going to sharply rise. So this is the graph that I believe shows it. 2017, it's 42%, which is the millennials, right, in the workforce. So it rises up to 69% by 2027. Now, manufacturing, 25% portion of India's GDP, the sector will claim by 2025, up from 16% in 2017. So manufacturing, as of 2017, made up 16% portion of the India's GDP. It is expected to become 25%, right, by 2025. This is fifth, the country's projected rank among the most competitive manufacturing nations by 2022. And the fifth sector is renewable energy. So portion of country's total installed energy capacity that will be renewable by 2035 is 54%, which is 22% in 2017, but it will be 54% by 2035. And 2022 is the year by which India's installed renewable energy generation capacity is projected to double, overtaking that of the EU. So 2022 is the year that is being projected here. So those were the five sectors to watch out for: financial services, manufacturing, renewable energy, as well as the other two, which was IT, BPO, and infrastructure. Those are the five sectors that you can expect most jobs to come from through the next decade here in India. Now, the other thing that this report covers are the challenges, the persistent challenges that India face, right? So, but 21st century superpower status isn't a sure bet. Five significant obstacles to growth are corruption. So they've mentioned corruption as one of the five biggest or significant obstacles to growth. Inadequate infrastructure. So that's another thing. The infrastructure is not up to mark. Access to financing, that is very difficult here in India, as per this report. Women's low and declining labor participation. So the labor participation of women here in India is actually declining, which is, uh, which is something pretty dark and stark, right? Stark ground reality, wherein the women's participation was already low in jobs and it is actually declining now. And number five is tax rates. So the amount of tax that the corporations need to pay, the tax rates in general are high as per this report. So, and will organizations find enough talent? So, this is the figure. 706,682 is the number of new project related jobs expected to be created annually in India every year between 2017 to 2027. So these are the challenges: corruption, inadequate infrastructure, access to financing, women's low and declining labor participation, and tax rates are some of the challenges that India faces. And the number of jobs, right, expected to be created annually in India, that's huge. This is also a great opportunity for anyone who's already working in the project management space, right, to take up certifications like PMP, certifications like Prince 2, certifications like in the fields of agile, in the field of agile. So, because the project management jobs are on the rise, even if you're not someone who works in the project management industry, you can, and if you're just a student, right, you can look into creating your career in project management, because this is the industry that is actually on the rise. Just look at the number of jobs that are expected to be created, right? Around 7 lakhs, actually more than 7 lakhs, right? So again, this was the report. It talks about the five sectors and the five persistent challenges. Again, one thing to note here is that this is something which is expected, right? This is something which is an expectation from India. This number that you see, 7 lakh plus jobs, is an expectation based on India's past performance, right? They have mentioned the persisting challenges here: corruption, inadequate infrastructure, access to financing, women's low and declining labor participation, and tax rate. So these are some of the challenges that can actually impede the growth and that can actually harm, the entire scenario, and that can actually lead to not these many jobs being created every year, right? So let's say in the last, I'll give you an example, right? So in the last 5 years, let's say if your salary has doubled, right, there is a good chance, and as per the statistics, you should get double your salary that you get right now in the next 5 years, because the previous 5 years you have done so, right? So that's a projected change, and that's the projected growth that is expected out of you. And again, double after those 5 years as well. So 10 years from now, you're supposed to be earning four times what you're earning right now. So that's the projected growth, right? So there could be challenges, and these challenges are for entire India that they have listed here in the report, right? So, if the projected growth for you is that you'll be earning four times what you earn right now in the next 10 years, you cannot just sit at home and not work anymore. You still have to hustle, you still have to grind, and you still have to give your best to be able to reach that projected potential, right? So this is the projected potential for India as a country. Our governments, our people in power need to grind, still need to hustle, and still need to ensure that this potential that India has is tapped on, and India reaches where it is supposed to in the next decade. So that's basically it. That's all that I had in this video. Hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed the potential that India as a country possesses. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, and check us out on our social media: facebook.com/PMP Lounge and twitter.com/PMP Lounge. And as always, do check out the website pmplounge.com, your number one free resource for PMP certification and project management industry information. Thank you.